Trump says Israel and Iran agreed to a ceasefire that will start in 6 hours. That makes sense as to why Israel was striking super hard. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire. Upon the 24th hour, wait, what? An official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. He said, good game, guys. Well played. He said, GGWP. I can't believe it. He did it again. Donald Trump did it again. He broke something for no reason and then let chaos unfold for an extended period of time, only to turn around and be like, look at how big of a savior I am. Does this man ever do anything that is not within the Trump playbook, where he just goes in, breaks something, and then it says he's going to continue breaking it, and then stops the further breaking process? Half of this is broken already, and goes, look how amazing I am. I just stopped. I could have broken way more. This is insane. He did the exact same thing on everything, from tariffs to immigration to war, firing government employees only to rehire them instantly. It's only been 5 months, man. It's only been 5 months since this came into power, and he's basically done this. He's done this like 100 different times. Perhaps this could be a way to buy time and replenish Israel's Iron Dome interceptors and then relaunch the aggression later. That could be the case. And this time they could start with like a straightforward decapitation strike to push the entire region into further chaos. I don't think Israel is happy with this situation. No matter what they say, they will probably come around and claim that they got massive W's here. The joint partnership is stronger than ever before, but I don't think they're happy with this effort at all, because their goal was to bring America. Their goal was to basically bring America into the fold and take the war to Iran. Iran did not get regime change by the collective West and Israel. They won easy. No, they didn't. They did not win. This is not a W for Iran. Israel, it's an L for Israel, but it's not a W for Iran. Please. Israel literally came in amidst negotiations of the West, showed that they had the capacity to actually manipulate Western nations and even the United States of America and bring them onto the cause, assassinated a ton of IRGC commanders, and established air superiority over key parts of Iran in the process, kept bombing Iran in the process. No, it's not a massive W for it's not a W for Iran at all. Yes, they avoided regime change for now. They avoided becoming a failed state for now. That doesn't mean that this ended. They also, I think, have drafted a withdrawal. Iran, I think, drafted a withdrawal from leaving the International Atomic Agency energy. So that's a ginormous L for everybody except for Iran. President Trump spoke to me about the ceasefire deal in an exclusive interview. He said, "It's a great day for America. It's a great day for the Middle East. I'm very happy to have been able to get the job done. A lot of people were dying, and it was only going to get worse." When asked how long the ceasefire would be, President Trump said, "I think the ceasefire is unlimited. It's going to go forever." When asked if the war was completely over, he said, "Yes, I don't believe they will ever be shooting at each other again." President Trump also said that of the conflict with Iran, it would have brought the whole Middle East down. He added this about the ceasefire deal: "It's a wonderful day for the world, in my opinion." Okay, I need to make something clear here. Here was a really cool way that Trump could have avoided all of this. Telling Israel not to strike Iran. Because we have only, at best, set the time frame back to 12 days ago, and there's been a lot in those 12 days that's bad for both Iran and Israel. So this is not a W. Why are people, who the would look at this and go, that's cool, this is actually dope? Unless somehow this also, through back channels, is telling Israel to just cut it out with Gaza or some shit, which I heavily doubt. There was no W here at all. Trump allowed this event to unfold. He created chaos. People were like, this is the worst type of chaos. What the fuck are you doing? And then 12 days later, he was like, all right, chaos over. Look, I saved it. It's like, but you started it. You let the chaos happen. You let the chaos happen for 12 days only to turn around and I guess like stop even more chaos from taking place. Like, how is this a W? What I feel like took place is Israel's air defenses are diminished, and we'll see if Iran actually retaliates in this last barrage of missiles. We'll see how much the Israeli air defenses are diminished. The only thing I can foresee happening here is that Israel's air defenses were so diminished, and America did not have appetite for further war with Iran, and therefore they had to cool off a little bit before they could re-up on their air defenses, and then Israel will most likely try it again. Didn't bomb civilians, strategical strike on nuclear facilities that intend to create overall hurt, multiple countries, USA being number one. No, it's not. That's not true. There's another lie that you just believed for no reason. That's the WMD lie. Just like Saddam had WMDs and he was willing to use it on America is the lie that the American government told to invade Iraq. That is also a lie. It was not a strategical strike on nuclear facilities. First of all, that in and of itself is already a war crime. I like that we have decided nuclear power plants and nuclear facilities are just now open targets. What do you think would have happened if the United States actually successfully blew up a nuclear facility? Do you think the civilians would be happy with the radiation poisoning? And also, more than 600 Iranians were killed in the process. So clearly, the idea that they weren't targeting civilians is also bullshit. So what was the point of the strike again? I'm confused. Okay, good. If you're asking this question with sincerity, then that's good. This is the first step towards having a healthy dose of skepticism towards this current administration, which you should apply to every administration regardless. Great. Iran did not have nukes. Our own intelligence showed that Iran did not have nukes and did not have the capacity to develop nukes. That's our own intelligence community's assessment. The only people that were saying Iran is about to get a nuke tomorrow, any day now, was Israel. They've been saying that. The same guy, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been saying that since 1992, for the record. And I think everyone knows at this point that when Israel is saying something, it's most likely a lie. So what was the point of this strike? The point of this strike was basically to entertain our most valuable ally, Israel's genocidal ambitions. That was the only point. Israel wanted regime change in Iran. They started this amidst a denuclearization negotiation that Iran was conducting with the United States of America. They started this under the cover, the protective cover of said denuclearization agreement. Israel did this specifically for regime change. The nukes, the fake nukes lie was the casus belli. It was bullshit. Nobody really believed it, but it didn't really matter ultimately. The entire point of the strike was so that we were playing ball with Israel. We were playing ball with Israel and showing them that we are willing and able to also strike Iran and maybe even go to war with Iran at the behest of Israel. But the Iranian retaliation was also significantly limited against the American bases. And in the aftermath of the Iranian retaliation and its limitations, the American government came back and apparently put together this ceasefire, told Israel to stand down, which they will in a couple hours, and told Iran to stand down, which I suspect they took gladly. Now that the ceasefire has been implemented, there was no real goal here. It was just complete idiocy, complete madness, and bloodshed for no reason. Welcome to the Trump administration. He does this all the time. I think we're far from done with Iran. I think the strike was testing the waters on a domestic acceptance. Israel will kill the ceasefire, something will trigger another start of the conflict. I agree. I don't think Israel is happy about this quote-unquote ceasefire. Reuters White House correspondent says Trump brokered ceasefire in a call with Netanyahu Monday afternoon while VP Marco Rubio. Israel agreed to it so long as Iran did not launch further attacks. Iran signaled to the U.S. that no more attacks would take place, the official said. So Iran is eating it. Israel's going to continue bombing Iran and Iran's just going to eat it. I think agreeing to be bombed by Israel without any sort of retaliation in an effort to bring forward a ceasefire is the weakest moment of the Iranian regime. If Israeli strikes continue after 3:30 Tel Aviv time, Iran will consider the ceasefire as voided. Source France 24. Okay. Yeah, half an hour from now, literally in the next 30 minutes. Oh, that's it. 3 minutes ago. Syed Abbas Arakchi, as Iran has repeatedly made it clear, Israel launched a war on Iran, not the other way around. As of now, there is no agreement on any ceasefire or cessation of military operations. However, provided that the Israeli regime stops its illegal aggression against the Iranian people no later than 4 a.m. Tehran time, we have no intention to continue our... never mind. The final decision on the cessation of our military operations will be made later. Dude, Dude, they literally pushed it back. Oh, they pushed it back. They said 3:30. Now they're saying 4. Oh no, 4 a.m. in Tehran. No, actually, never mind. 4 a.m. in Tehran is I thought the initial thing that they said was Tel Aviv time. So I got it wrong. Yes, it is already past Tehran time. They're still bombing. Wait, why the f did he post this now? It's already past 4 a.m. in Tehran. That's right. They're half hour apart. As of now, there's no agreement, but then he announced an agreement. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you so horny for Iran to stay in the war? I'm not. Iran to stay in the war. Iran is getting bombed right now as we speak. What are they supposed to do? Not de-escalate? Dog, what are you talking about? Iran is still in the process of being bombed. There are some Iranian officials that have stated that there's no ceasefire that was ever given to them. Sayed Abbas Araghchi, which is a foreign minister, came out and said there was no agreement on any ceasefire cessation of military operations, except apparently there is one that they are abiding by. Like you're misunderstanding my position here. I want there to be a real ceasefire, like a complete ceasefire. I just don't think that Israel is going to abide by one. And the Iranian government is giving different information. But while we're having this conversation, it seems like they're bombing Ayatollah Khamenei's building, like his neighborhood. So it doesn't seem like Israel is invested in this ceasefire at all. Do you feel like this is a de-escalation from the Israeli side? I don't. Okay, a couple things. One, I don't know what is going on the Iranian side, the Iranian leadership. There are inconsistencies in the messaging. It could be born out of like how fast this ceasefire was implemented. I do believe that the Iranian leadership would absolutely dive at the first shot of a ceasefire, though. That tracks with their track record. So I can totally see that. However, beyond the inconsistencies on the Iranian side, as far as messaging, if we're going to analyze like Trump, the big, beautiful peacemaking president, this is yet another like tariffs are on, tariffs are off style situation. Tariffs are on, everybody panics, everybody yells at Trump. Trump scales back the tariffs. Everybody goes, oh, actually, we love that there were no tariffs to begin with. You're so great. Like, I don't understand what is happening with the Iranian side, because they said that they wouldn't surrender. The Ayatollah's statements contradict what they ended up doing in the end. Ali Abunima says, Iran appears to have given Israel a reprieve. Israel will thank Iran by escalating its efforts to bring about the collapse and destruction of Iran's government and society. Let's hope there's more to this agreement than just quiet for now. That's what I think as well. Because I think the only reason why Israel said yes to this is because Trump showed that he didn't have more appetite for further escalations on the American side. Iranians did the thing that they always do, which is limited retaliation. But because Israel's air defenses are in tatters and significantly depleted, without America joining the conflict with a serious escalation, like straight up, actively taking an active role in the conflict, I don't think Israel's offensive campaigns were going to be enough to stop the Iranian ballistic missiles from flying into Tel Aviv. So that is the reason why, especially that, and also the fact that Israel's goal here wasn't to just take out the nuclear facilities or whatever is also bullshit. They didn't meet any of their military goals, and they didn't get to do what they wanted to do, which was to do decapitation strikes and full-blown regime change. And America did not bite. They did, though. How do you know? Because there's no nukes, chatter. That's why. Because there's no nukes. Because Israel's ultimate goal of nukes was bullshit. That wasn't real. That wasn't a real situation at all. They just made that up. Why would they make something like that up? Because they wanted to do regime change in Iran. The speculation part of this is not even speculation. America did not join the conflict beyond bombing the Fordow sites and the two other nuclear sites. One where they were developing. The Fordow site is where they're enriching the uranium, and the other two nuclear sites as well. That was very limited overall. We still don't know if they actually successfully destroyed these sites. But once again, Iran had already talked about how they had moved the enriched uranium away from Fordow. So the nuke part of this is a red herring. It's bullshit. It's not real. They also voted in the parliament to pull out of the International Atomic Energy. It's a red herring till someone gets nuked. We did that shit in Iraq. We got a ton of ships parked out there, man. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, okay, but if you understand we did that shit in Iraq, you understand that it was a massive failure. It didn't even happen in Iran this time. Iraq is what Israel wants to do in Iran. They failed to do that this time around. The reason why they failed to do that is because they don't have the capacity to do that to Iran or any other country on their own. They can only do that if Big Daddy America joins the fight. And Big Daddy America joined the fight in a very limited fashion this time around. They didn't go beyond what the most, I mean, it was still a severe escalation, make no mistake, but they didn't go past blowing up the 3 nuclear sites. In the process, Israel realized that they did not have the air defense capabilities and was more willing to back away from further escalation, which is why I assume when Iran did the exact same thing that they've done, like they did in 2020 after the Qasem Soleimani assassination, like they've done in all of the Operation True Promises so far, when they attacked in a retaliatory manner in an effort to maintain some semblance of sovereignty, in an effort to save face and get a symbolic retaliation in the books. America was fine with that de-escalation, so this ceasefire was implemented. The reason why I still say Iran lost in this, Iran lost a lot in this process is not only because they had a ton of people die in the process, but they also lost any sort of sovereignty they possibly could push for because they lost their air defense capabilities and they allowed Israel to have air superiority over numerous parts of the Iranian airspace for extended periods of time. They got attacked by America. They got attacked by Israel. They lost high-ranking IRGC members in the process, but ultimately Israel lost more than Iran did. So I don't think that this is a victory for Iran, especially considering that I suspect Israel is going to simply re-up and rearm their air defenses, take note of the holes that exist within their anti-air defense capabilities, like they did after Operation True Promise 2. They will also be able to re-up and rearm in the process and then try this out one more time. If you think that this is done for Israel, you're wrong. I don't think Israel is done with Iran. I don't think Israel is done with Iran at all. Sufficient retaliation from Iran in this process would mean that Israel would be running to America to demand a ceasefire, to get a ceasefire done, because they were incurring too many penalties from Iran. Their counterstrikes and their Air Force targets in Iran would also be diminished. But that didn't happen. Iran's retaliation, on the other hand, especially on the last day of this ceasefire just now, was incredibly diminished. They claimed that they were going to strike Iran one last time, and they never did. And they basically let Israel unload without any sort of retaliation back at Israel whatsoever. I assume the reason why Iran did that was because they just did not have the capabilities. Like I said, the reason why I think this was also a spectacular defeat for Israel is because they got 0 of their military goals accomplished. They were able to humiliate the Iranian regime for sure, and they were able to weaken the Iranian military, but in the process, they showed everyone in the region that they were not untouchable, that they were not immune to retaliation. They were not immune to incurring penalties for Israeli society. If this were to be a significant victory for Israel, this would be continuing right now. What Israel is doing, the bombing campaigns would be going on. There'd be no ceasefire. America would have joined the conflict in a much more meaningful capacity. Iran would be using a significant amount of their defense capabilities and offensive capabilities on American positions. It would be devastating. There'd be far more bloodshed. But Israel doesn't give a shit. That's what their goal was. This is why I think this was humiliating for Benjamin Netanyahu as well. The amount of bloodshed that Israel was able to cause in Iran without achieving any of their specific military goals is a humiliation for Benjamin Netanyahu. That on top of the rest of the world literally either celebrating or staying quiet, watching Tel Aviv buildings get demolished by Iranian ballistic missiles, probably also doesn't feel great for Israeli society in general. Dan Cohen says, at this point, the default assumption must be that any ceasefire is another ploy by the U.S. and Israel to seduce Iran into lowering its guard so they can assassinate Khamenei and attempt their long-term stated goal of regime change. It would be foolish, to put it mildly, to trust Netanyahu and Trump. I agree with that. But if I can see that, and random Twitter analyst can see that. I am assuming that the IRGC and the Ayatollah is also aware of this reality. You'll see in the upcoming hours, if not the upcoming days, who actually lost or what kind of humiliations took place, because Israeli officials are going to start speaking. There's going to be a lot of anger and resentment and be like, what was this all for? We lost 25 of our big, beautiful citizens. We lost entire city blocks, reduced to rubble, and you couldn't even take out the Ayatollah? How dare you? You know, like that. I just don't trust the American government, and I don't trust the Israeli government at all when they say they want a ceasefire. But that's usually what happens when you use the previous negotiations as cover to implement a first strike and continue a bombing campaign for 12 days straight. So who knows?